The Dark Truth About Epstein Island. Welcome to Listen and Learn Tales. Do you want to improve your English while listening to some of the most fascinating and mysterious stories from around the world? You're in the right place. Here, you can listen to clear English, read the text on your screen, and repeat the sentences to practice your speaking. Today, we are diving into one of the most controversial and talked about topics in recent history, the story of Jeffrey Epstein, his infamous island, and the newly released Epstein Files. This is a long and complex tale of power, money, crime, and mystery. So, sit back, relax, and let's begin. Listen carefully, read along, and don't forget to repeat the sentences out loud to practice your English. The Scream in Mexico. Our story starts in 2009, in Mexico. Imagine a busy, luxurious hotel. Inside, a glamorous modeling event is taking place. Famous businessmen, powerful politicians, and celebrities are laughing and talking. Suddenly, a woman named Gabriela starts screaming outside the hotel. She shouts at the top of her lungs. This hotel is full of murderers. They are rapists. They eat human flesh. Can you imagine the scene? People are shocked. Security guards rush out. Within minutes, the police arrive. They grab Gabriela and take her away. She was later sent to a psychiatric hospital. Here is the terrifying part. After 2009, Gabriela disappeared. No one has ever seen or heard from her again. Was she silenced? Did she know too much? This story is the perfect introduction to the dark world of Jeffrey Epstein. Why are we talking about this now? Because recently, thousands of pages of secret documents, called the Epstein Files, were released to the public. The whole world is talking about it again. Today, we will try to understand, who was Jeffrey Epstein? How did he become so rich? What really happened on his island? And what is in these new files? Let's uncover the full story. Who was Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a middle-class family. His father worked for the city's parks department. But from a very young age, everyone noticed that Jeffrey was different. He was incredibly smart. He was a genius at math and physics. He loved science. In fact, he was so smart that he skipped 2 grades. He went from 5th grade directly to 8th grade. He didn't even need to study 6th and 7th grade. After finishing school, he became a science teacher at a private school called the Dalton School. This was a very famous school for rich kids. He taught physics and math. This is where his life changed forever. One of his students was the son of a very powerful man on Wall Street. This man was the CEO of a huge investment company called Bear Stearns. During a parent-teacher meeting, he met Epstein. He was impressed by how smart Epstein was. Soon, Epstein left his teaching job. He joined Bear Stearns, one of the biggest investment firms in the world. He started as a stockbroker. And he was very, very good at it. By the time he was just 27 years old, he became a limited partner in the company. He was a star. But then, trouble started. He was accused of stock fraud. He lost his job at Bear Stearns. But Epstein was smart. He found a new, unusual job. It was called financial bounty hunting. What is that? Imagine a rich person takes a huge loan from a bank, and then runs away to another country. The bank can't find them. Financial bounty hunters find these people. They track down their money and their assets. They help the bank get its money back. Epstein was very good at this. This is how he became a millionaire for the first time. Remember, becoming a millionaire in the 1980s was much harder than it is today. The Ponzi scheme and powerful friends. After making his first million, Epstein started a new business with a friend named Steven. It was an MLM company. MLM stands for multi-level marketing. But this company was actually a big scam. It was a Ponzi scheme. They took money from new investors and used it to pay the old investors. They made a huge amount of money, $400 million. But eventually, the scam was discovered. Epstein's partner, Stephen, went to jail for 20 years. But what happened to Epstein? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because by this time, Epstein had made powerful friends. He had connections. And these powerful people made sure that Epstein was protected. The company was shut down, and he had to pay a fine, but he was free. This was a lesson for Epstein. He learned that having powerful friends was the best protection. So, he started a new business. This time, he would work alone. He started a wealth management company. But he didn't work for just anyone. He only worked for the richest and most powerful people in the world. He went to billionaires and said, "Give me your money. I will invest it for you. I will make you even more money, and I will help you avoid taxes legally." He was actually very good at this. He made his clients a lot of money. And because of this, two things happened. He became incredibly, filthy rich. He became friends with the most powerful people on earth, politicians, royalty, tech billionaires, and famous celebrities. His new friends were so rich that they even gifted him a private jet. The island, Little St. James. Now, Epstein had so much money, he didn't know what to do with it. So, he bought an island. He bought a place called Little St. James Island, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. People started calling it Epstein Island. He built a huge mansion, a guest house, a swimming pool, and tennis courts. It looked like a luxury resort. But this island was not just for relaxing. It was for something much darker. Epstein started having parties on his island. But these were not normal parties. These were terrible parties. He would bring young girls, minors, to the island. He used these girls for entertainment. What exactly happened at these parties? We will discuss that later. But first, you might be wondering, if he was doing all these terrible things for so long, didn't anyone catch him? Didn't anyone complain? Yes, they did. Many people complained. Let's go back to 2005. 2005, the first complaint. In 2005, a mother and father in Florida went to the police. They said that a 14-year-old girl, their daughter, had been abused by a rich man. That man was Jeffrey Epstein. They said he took her to his mansion to give him a massage. And that's when the abuse happened. The police in Palm Beach started an investigation. They found more girls. They found 14 girls who had similar stories. They were all minors, between 13 and 16 years old. How did Epstein find these girls? He had a system. It was like a pyramid scheme. He and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, would find young girls from poor families. They would promise them money, modeling jobs, or educational opportunities. They would take them to his mansion or his island. The girls were told to give him a massage. But the massage would always lead to sexual abuse. And here is the worst part, Epstein would tell the girls, "If you bring me another girl, I will give you $200. So, the victims became recruiters. They brought their friends. It was a terrible, organized system. In 2006, Epstein was finally arrested. Everyone thought he would go to jail for a long time. But guess what happened? His punishment was a joke. He paid a fine of just $3,000. Yes, only $3,000 for abusing 14 young girls. And he was free. The local police were very angry. They worked so hard on the investigation, and this was the result. So, they gave all their evidence to the FBI. The FBI is a much more powerful federal agency. They started a bigger investigation. The FBI investigation and another weak punishment. The FBI investigated deeply. They interviewed more victims. They investigated Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and his employees. They made a huge report, 45 pages long. Finally, in 2008, Epstein faced charges again. He was charged with prostitution and abusing minors. He pleaded guilty. This time, he actually got a prison sentence. He was sentenced to 13 months in jail. But wait, there's more. The judge said, because Jeffrey Epstein is a very important businessman, he needs to work. So, he can leave the jail for 12 hours every day, 6 days a week, to go to his office. Can you believe it? He was only in jail at night and on Sundays. It was not a real punishment. It was a country club jail. This was 2008. After he got out of jail, Epstein wanted to clean up his image. He wanted people to forget about his crimes. He started giving away huge amounts of money to famous universities like Harvard and MIT. He donated to Bill Gates' charity foundation. He became friends with Bill Gates. He talked to scientists and politicians. People started to forget his past. They saw him as a generous billionaire. Years passed. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. It seemed like he got away with it. The courageous journalist. But one person did not forget. Her name is Julie K. Brown. She was a journalist for the Miami Herald, a newspaper in Florida. She read about the 2008 plea deal and thought it was very strange. She thought, this doesn't seem right. There must be more to this story. For years, she investigated. She talked to the victims. She collected their testimonies. She gathered documents. For almost 10 years, she worked on this story. In 2018, she published a series of articles. Her articles were like a bomb exploding. She showed the world the full story. She showed how Epstein had abused so many girls. She showed how the justice system had failed. She showed how his powerful friends had protected him. The public was shocked and angry. There was huge public pressure. The government had to act. In 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested again. This time, the charges were much more serious: sex trafficking of minors. This time, the judge denied him bail. He had to stay in jail until his trial. The mysterious death. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell in New York. The official story was that he killed himself. He hanged himself. But immediately, people didn't believe it. There were too many strange things. Strange thing number 1, on the night he died, the guards did not check on him. Prisoners are supposed to be checked every 30 minutes. That night, no one checked for several hours. Strange thing number 2, the 2 cameras right outside his cell were broken. All the other cameras in the prison were working. Only the ones near his cell were not working. Strange thing number 3, he was supposed to have a cellmate. Prisoners who might hurt themselves are not left alone. But his cellmate was moved out just before he died. Strange thing number 4, his brother hired an independent doctor to do another autopsy. This doctor found injuries on Epstein's neck and shoulders that are not common in suicides. He said it looked more like murder. Strange thing number 5, there was no suicide note. So, did he really kill himself? Or was he killed? Many people believe he was murdered. Why? To keep him quiet. To stop him from talking about all the powerful people who visited his island. He knew too many secrets. The Epstein Files, finally released. After Epstein died, the public demand grew even louder. People wanted to see all the evidence. They wanted to know the names of everyone involved. They chanted, "Release the Epstein Files." Donald Trump, before he became president, promised he would release them. But he didn't. Finally, after years of legal battles, a law was passed. It was called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This law forced the government to release the files. On January 30, 2024, the first batch of files was released. It was massive. There were over 3.5 million pages of documents, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 photos. And they said there are still millions more pages that haven't been released yet. Why did it take so long? Why are some parts still secret? Many people think it's because the files contain the names of very, very powerful people. People who don't want their names to be public. So, whose names were in the files? Let's look at some of them. Names in the files. Donald Trump. His name appears over 1,000 times in the files. He flew on Epstein's private jet at least 8 times. There are emails and phone records showing they talked often. There are even photos of them together at parties. Trump has tried to distance himself from Epstein, but the files show a close friendship. Bill Clinton. The former president's name appears many times. He also flew on Epstein's plane many times. There is a famous photo of him on the plane. But more importantly, a victim named Virginia Roberts Giuffre claimed that Epstein told her that Bill Clinton likes them young. Clinton has denied this. His team said he knew nothing about Epstein's crimes. But the files show he was much closer to Epstein than he ever admitted. Prince Andrew. The British prince is in serious trouble because of these files. His name appears hundreds of times. Virginia Roberts Giuffre accused him directly. She said that when she was only 17, Epstein forced her to have sex with Prince Andrew. There is a famous photo of Prince Andrew with his arm around a young Virginia in Epstein's mansion. An email also showed Epstein offering to set up a date for Prince Andrew with a 26-year-old woman. Because of these accusations, Prince Andrew had to step back from his royal duties. Elon Musk. The world's richest man's name is also in the files. An email was leaked. In this email, Elon Musk wrote to Epstein asking, "When is the wildest party on your island? I want to bring my girlfriend." When this email was released, people were shocked. Musk quickly responded on Twitter. He said, "I never went to his island. That email was a joke. I sent it to make my girlfriend laugh. I didn't know Epstein personally." Many people don't believe him, but he hasn't faced any legal action. Bill Gates. This was a big surprise. A draft email from Epstein was found. He never sent it, but he wrote it. In the email, Epstein claimed that Bill Gates came to his island and had a relationship with a model. He also claimed that because of this, Gates got an STD, a sexually transmitted disease. He said Gates now has to take medicine for it. Bill Gates' team has completely denied this. They said Gates never went to the island. They said his meetings with Epstein were only about charity work. Other famous names. The files are full of famous names. Stephen Hawking, the famous physicist, was on the island, but he was there for a scientific conference. Michael Jackson and David Copperfield the magician were also mentioned. One victim said Copperfield performed magic at one of Epstein's parties. Marvin Minsky, a famous AI scientist, was accused by a victim of abuse. The list goes on, including Saudi princes and many other billionaires. What really happened on the island? So, what really happened on Epstein Island? The victims' stories and the files paint a terrifying picture. The torture room. In one room, investigators found a special chair. It looked like a dentist's chair, but it was different. It had straps for the hands and feet. Around the room, they found masks, whips, and medical tools. It is believed that this room was used for experiments on victims. They were given drugs. They were abused both physically and sexually. It was a room for torture. Hidden cameras and blackmail. The whole island was covered in hidden cameras. They were in bedrooms, bathrooms, even on the beach. You couldn't see them. Why did Epstein do this? He was recording his powerful guests. He was blackmailing them. He had videos of them doing terrible things. This was his power. This is why no one spoke out against him. If they did, he would release the videos. This is also why he was protected for so long. His victims were not just the young girls. His powerful friends were also his victims, trapped by his blackmail. The victims were mostly young, poor, and vulnerable girls. They were trafficked from all over the world, the United States, Eastern Europe, Thailand. Ghislaine Maxwell was the main recruiter. She would find them, gain their trust, and then deliver them to Epstein. Many were just 12, 13, or 14 years old. They were abused by Epstein and his friends over and over again. They were given drugs. They were threatened. They were told that if they ever spoke, their families would be killed. Fake news and misunderstandings. When the Epstein Files were released, the internet exploded with fake news. It's important to know what is real and what is not. Fake AI image. One photo went viral. It showed a room with meat hanging from the ceiling and blood on the walls. People said, "This is human meat. This is from Epstein's kitchen." But later, experts proved it was a fake picture. It was created by artificial intelligence, AI. It was not real. Translation errors. In one email, Epstein wrote about an Indian politician, Narendra Modi. The English sentence was, "Modi did exactly I said, he danced for me in Israel." Many people in South Asia translated this literally. They thought it meant Modi actually danced, physically danced, in Israel. But in English, the phrase, "danced for me," is an idiom. It means, he did what I told him to do, or, he obeyed me. Epstein was just saying that Modi followed his advice. It had nothing to do with actual dancing. This is a great example of how translation mistakes can create fake news. Name dropping. Just because a name appears in the files does not mean that person is a criminal. For example, the famous journalist Mehdi Hasan's name appears. Why? Because a businessman from Dubai emailed Epstein and said, "You should watch this debate by Mehdi Hasan about Islam. It's very good." That's it. He was just recommending a video. His name was in the files, but he had nothing to do with the crimes. The redactions. As I mentioned, many parts of the files are blacked out. Official reason, to protect the victims' identities. But many people believe the real reason is to protect powerful people whose names are still a secret. The black ink is hiding the truth. What happened to the others? Ghislaine Maxwell. She was Epstein's girlfriend and partner in crime. After Epstein died, she was arrested. In 2021, her trial began. Victims testified against her. They said she was the main organizer. She found the girls. She abused them herself. She was found guilty. In 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. She is the only one who has been truly punished so far. What about the others? Prince Andrew stepped back from royal duties, but he hasn't been charged with a crime. Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are still free. Elon Musk is still running his companies. The FBI says they are still investigating, but many experts believe it will be very hard to charge anyone else. Without Epstein alive, and with so much evidence redacted or destroyed, justice may never be fully served. The victims are still waiting. They are still hoping that one day, all the names will be revealed and everyone who hurt them will be punished. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is not just a story about one evil man. It is a story about power. It's a story about how the rich and powerful can break the law and get away with it. It's a story about how a system meant to protect the weak can fail so terribly. The Epstein Files have given us a glimpse into this dark world. But the full truth is still hidden behind black ink and in unopened files. Will the world take action? Or will this story slowly fade away, replaced by other news? We don't know the answer yet. But one thing is clear, the screams of Gabriela in Mexico, and the screams of hundreds of young victims on that island, cannot be ignored forever. Remember, this story is a reminder to always question power, to protect the vulnerable, and to never stop seeking the truth. And that brings us to the end of this long and complex story. Thank you for staying with us until the end here at Listen and Learn Tales. We hope this deep dive into the Epstein Files was not only interesting but also helpful for your English learning journey. How was your experience? Did you read the text on the screen carefully? Did you practice listening to the pronunciation? Did you try to repeat some of the sentences to improve your speaking? This method of listening, reading, and repeating is one of the best ways to improve your English fluency. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Share this video with a friend who is also learning English. Let's learn together. What story would you like to hear next? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and happy learning. See you in the next video.